Hey, what's going on, guys? This is gonna be my final question and answer video. Let's get right down to it. One of the last questions I got was from Instant Classic G1. He asked, "What are your top 3 feuds in ROH history?" I'm gonna save those questions for another video. I'm gonna do my top 10 feuds in ROH history, probably down the road. So look out for that, probably within the next month. Big Rat 310, I believe he asked me like 3 more questions, but I can't remember any of them. I just remember one actually. He asked, "What were the 3 worst years in ROH history, in my opinion?" I'm gonna have to go with 2002. There was a match of the year candidate pretty much on every show, but there was way too many matches, way too much filler. So I gotta go with 2002. Actually gonna go with 2008 as well. Way too many Age of the Fall neck row butcher matches for my liking. Gabe Sapolsky ended up getting fired. 2008 had so many great matches though, so many great things about it. But let's face it, there was some bad shows. Escalation was probably the worst show in ROH history. So I got to go with 2008, even though I still think it was an awesome year. And I'll go with 2009 as well. This year has been, I'll go so far as to say this year has been great for ROH. However, there's been, let's face it, there's been a lot of mediocre shows. There's been some, the first half of the year, the first couple months of the year were pretty bad. Some of the worst openers I've ever seen in ROH history. And the HDNet tapings, personally for me, I don't really think it's the best show and the best overall show in wrestling right now. The show was pretty tough for me to watch on YouTube. A lot of matches are really tough to watch, but I don't want to shit on this year completely. I think it still has been a great year. HDNet has delivered some great main events. Kenta put on a great performance every time in 2009, as well as David Richards. I think Austin Aries is a great champion, but if I had to pick another year, I'd probably say 2009. So, all right, next up, let's get down to the other questions now. First question was from P.05. He asked, "Do you think John Wall will be an impact player in his rookie season?" Yeah, without a doubt. Kyle Perry recruited this guy. He plays for Kentucky. I think he's going to be in the same class as Derrick Rose and Tyreek Evans. I don't think he'll be as good as Derrick Rose, but he'll probably be on the same level as Tyreek Evans. I think he needs to add a little bit of size, but he seems pretty strong for as big as he is. Pound for pound, he's pretty strong actually. And he's just a phenomenal player from what I've seen. He can carry a team. He can get to the lane. He's a great player. All right, next question from P.05. He actually asked, "Do you think WWE has given up on the young talent, because they haven't gotten over as quickly as the management has wanted them to? Guys like Kofi, Morrison, and Dolph Ziggler. I don't think WWE has given up on them. I think the problem is they've invested so much money into guys like Orton, Cena, Batista, and guys like that they just want to get as much out of those guys as possible. So they don't want to take the risk. Financially, money's always the most important thing. So, they don't want anything to flop big time. I guess that's what their biggest fear is. But if I was Morrison or someone like that, I'd just keep doing what you're doing. Just stay ready, because eventually, Cena's going to get really stale. Orton's definitely going to get injured again, and then that's when he's going to have to step up. So I don't think they've given up on him. I think Vince McMahon appreciates it when guys stay persistent and they stay focused and are ready, just like Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero were. They didn't give up. They kept on clawing their way to the top, and they had pretty good title runs. Okay, next up we get a question from Warzone Jones. He asked, "Do you think Chris Hero will win the ROH belt this year?" I hate to say it, but I don't think he will. I think there's too many guys that are probably deserve it more than Hero right now. Tyler Black, Roderick Strong, Austin Aries, David Richards as well. There you go, 4 guys right there that are pretty much more talented and better wrestlers than Chris Hero. But I wouldn't mind a Chris Hero title win. I think he's phenomenal on the mic. He's a phenomenal wrestler. I think he deserves to be the ROH champion. But it's pretty. It'll just be a stretch for him to win it by the end of the year. But it's definitely going to come though, because he's too talented not to be the ROH champion. It'll just take a little bit longer than I think we expect. Next question. So Sarah Del Rey go to TNA. Yeah, she should go if he has a chance. ROH is not doing anything with the women right now, and I think TNA would be a good fit for her. I think they could actually use her right now. He also asked, "Do you think Jack Swagger should be in Sheamus' spot?" I think as far as his ability goes, I think he does deserve to be in Sheamus' spot. But I think Swagger needs to add another dimension to his character. Vince McMahon is more. I could see why he prefers Sheamus over Swagger, because Sheamus has that look. Vince is on that foreign kick right now. He's very interested in the foreign wrestlers with that dynamic personality that that little kids would look up to, this big monstrous villain. So that's probably why Sheamus is in that spot. But I definitely think Swagger has more of a respectable wrestling background. So it's kind of frustrating, but it is what it is. Next question is from Abyss Fan Mart. He asks, who in your opinion is the best tag team wrestler that never received a decent singles push? I gotta go with Christian Cage. I think Christian is phenomenal, and it's a shame that guys like Cena, Edge, and Jericho, who are very talented in my opinion, but I think Christian is just as talented, if not more talented than those guys. Christian can get it done in the ring. He can pretty much carry anyone. He's definitely evolved in the ring, and he's phenomenal on the mic. He's definitely got a lot of charisma, and when Christian's on, I don't think there's anyone better. So even though Christian's been pushed somewhat in the WWE, I just don't think they've really obviously they haven't done as much as they should have with Christian, and it's just a shame in my opinion. But Christian will get his time eventually. Next question is from Abyss Fan Mart as well. He asked, how would you have booked the Owen Hart title run? And would you have booked it? And would he have been a heel or a face? I think the WWE dropped the ball with this. I think maybe Survivor Series 2004. Survivor Series 1994. They should have had Owen Hart take the belt from Bret. Maybe Owen and Bret could feud over the belt, and maybe Bret would eventually win it back from Owen at WrestleMania 11. That probably would have been the best way to do it. I think Owen would have drew a lot more than even Diesel or Bob Backlund would have. So, it's a shame that Owen Hart was never the champion. And I definitely think he should have been a heel during the whole time as well. Owen was probably the top heel in the business, during the mid-90s. Next up, we had a question from Shady610. He asked, name a situation where a prediction you made about a wrestler was completely wrong, meaning there was a star you said would never end up being anything, but ended up being pretty big. All right, the first guy that comes to mind, or the only guy that comes to mind, is Bradshaw. If you said to me back in 2002, the Bradshaw with the black hair and the goatee, and he was, pretty much, I don't know, I always hated Bradshaw, to tell you the truth, but he really transformed himself. The JBL character went over really well. He was definitely one of the top heels, probably the top heel on SmackDown of the decade. So, I was completely wrong about that. So, all right, next question is from Aussie Pugs. He asked, would you tear apart the Wizards and start over again if Gilbert Arenas' contract is torn up? Well, I don't think, they haven't tore his contract up yet, and it looks like they're already taking apart the Wizards. As of today, Antoine Jameson was traded to the Cavaliers, and Caron Butler just a couple days ago was traded to Dallas. So it looks like they are going in a different direction. I think Honor Hammer even talked about that this is the way they needed to go. And I seriously doubt to bring Gilbert Arenas back. They're just going to start over again. It's such a shame because this team has so much potential, but the injury problems set him back, and now with Gilbert Arenas' fuck-ups, it's just they just need to start from scratch now. They can't play around. They need to start thinking about the future. So that's what it is. Next up, he asked, the same guy, Aussie Pugs, asked, where do you see LeBron James going next year if he leaves Cleveland? I don't think he's going to leave Cleveland. If you look at all the great players in NBA history, the best players, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, they pretty much stayed with the same team their whole tenure in the NBA. And I think LeBron wants to be that same guy. And on top of that, he gets to play in his hometown. And at the same time, I don't think him going to the Knicks is really going to raise his superstardom any more than what it is right now. So I'm going to say he's going to stay on the Cavaliers. And if they win the championship, without a doubt, I think he's going to sign with the Cavaliers again. Probably a short-term contract, but he'll definitely sign for probably 3 years. All right, next up, Harper2500 asked, what are your top 10 movies of all time? He said, if you can't name 10, just name 5. I'm going to have to go with Rocky 4. That's probably my favorite. I just think it's a great story with Ivan Drago killing Apollo Creed, and then Rocky comes back for revenge. And I think professional wrestling could take, some news and some notes from this movie as well. I think Drago was built up very well in this movie, and we really haven't in professional wrestling. We really haven't seen someone, utilized the way Ivan Drago was in that movie. I think they could have done it with Lesnar, but I thought they dropped the ball with that. But Rocky 4 is probably my favorite movie of all time. Some other movies that I like are Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction, Training Day, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Above the Rim, White Man Can't Jump. Those are pretty much my favorite movies right there. Next question is from, I believe this is from Mr. Narrator. He asked, what do you think of PWG's young guys, like the Cutler Brothers, Johnny Goodtime, and Jerome LTP Robinson, guys like that? I think they're very talented. They usually put on a great performance. But my problem is they're usually stuck in the same kind of matches. They're always in the opening match. I think eventually they need to, not jam them into the same match all the time. Probably do some singles matches and eventually have them interact with guys like Scott Ross, Joey Ryan, just to get more of a rub. Because it seems like we're seeing the same thing every show. But I haven't seen any shows since Against the Grain, so maybe they are changing. I know some of those guys are in Battle Los Angeles, so we'll see how they did there. So, all right, question and answers. That's pretty much the last one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right.